Issue 6 Combat Patrol, Tyrannid Barbgaunts, here to eat all round them. Hello and welcome to The Lucky Roll, an eclectic channel for eclectic games, and today we're looking at Hachette Collection's Combat Patrol Issue 6. Now this one comes with 5 Barbgaunts, which are basically Tyrannid artillery or living weapon platforms. This issue comes with 5 of them. As you can see, you have the sprue here and 5 things, and I have 5 built from the Leviathan box set. You start off again with the usual how to build, so it's not an especially difficult build because it's part of the actual box set, so a lot of these are push fit, so they're not desperately hard to put together. It gives you a little how to paint guide, and immediately after that it goes into the lore. So the first bit of lore here is on the Emperor of Mankind. So the lore are among the best parts of some of these Hachette magazines because it gives you a nice idea as to the background of the Imperium, and the Warhammer 40k universe is a very, very interesting one. So this of course focuses on the Emperor of the Mankind, who is essentially the dead leader of the Imperium. He sits on the iron or the golden throne and is still psychically active but cannot communicate with the Imperium soldiers. So they kind of interpret his wishes through dreams and things like that. The golden throne is what keeps him alive, and it has to be fed by something like 10,000 psychers a day. So it's an interesting sacrifice to keep what the chaos would term as the corpse emperor alive. You also have here the hive fleets. So these Tyrannids would all belong to a different kind of hive fleet. It would be kind of like a big long tendril, and there's 3 or 4 of them at least in the 40k universe, kind of stretching in from either sides of the Imperium. There's 3 of the famous ones here: Hive Fleet Leviathan, which would be the largest of them all. There's Hive Fleet Behemoth, which is famous for the brutal tactics, and Hive Fleet Kraken, which is famous for the devious tactics. Now again, there's nothing stopping you from making up your own Hive Fleet or story, so I guess I could call these guys Hive Fleet Lucky Roll. But it also goes into a nice little bit of interesting lore on the First Tyrannic War. Now the faction that I play in 40k are the Ultramarines. So it's the Ultramarines that will kind of define themselves against the Tyrannids. That the first major battle of the Tyrannic War was the Battle for Macragge, where the Ultramarines held off basically legions upon legions upon legions of Tyrannids and sacrificed the First Company. The First Company would be their best soldiers and held them off. But again, it cost them nearly everything just to hold them off, and it was only the start of the Tyrannic Wars. The Tyrannids would be conceivably the greatest threat imaginable to the Imperium, more than the Chaos, more than the Necrons, more than the Orcs, more than the Eldar, more than anything out there. The Tyrannids will just come in and eat absolutely everything. So there's a nice little bit of lore here on it. You have here some of the data sheet on the Barbgaunts themselves. So again, they're kind of artillery, but if you do get close, they will bite you. You have here live fire operation. So every one of these issues comes with a kind of a play guide, and it shows you here how to use your Infernus Marines and the Barbgaunts, and to work with each other, just to kind of give you again a lowdown and a breakdown on how to kind of play the game and your own little scenario. And it shows you here how to use the data sheets a little bit as well. So that is issue 6. We'll have a look at the actual minis themselves. So this is the sprue, and when you have them all put together, you get these lads. So very interesting little miniatures. It's kind of like a parasite that has taken over a monster and just turned it into a kind of a living weapon. So you can see here you've got the basic Tyrannid head and the kind of the parasitic thing going up to the brain here, and the whole left arm or 2 left arms is really just kind of a huge artillery piece. So you could say it's artillery. You could also just say it's kind of fire support, but they are very kind of grotesque, scary, horrific looking monsters, but they do stand out. So I mean, your typical Tyrannid Termagant is something nice and small like this, so these guys are a bit bigger. So even though you've got a load of scaly monsters in the battlefield, they will stand out and you will know what they are. I've gone for kind of my kind of green alien Leviathan kind of look here, but they're fairly like, there are differences in the models. I mean, this guy has his tongue out and this guy doesn't. But it is largely the same model over and over because of the actual weapon platform that they're carrying. They largely have the same pose, so there's not a massive amount of variety to these particular minis. But nevertheless, they're a good kind of fire support group thing to have, or an artillery support thing to have for your Tyranids, who would generally be munchy, so these guys give them a little bit of rangy. So that is essentially what you get in issue 6. Again, an issue if you wanted to build a Tyranid army, maybe worth buying a couple of times, but again, you just get the one sprue, and as you can see here, it's all push fit. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was issue 6 of Combat Patrol. Tune in next time when we cover up issue 7. Until then, this is Sean signing off.